Welcome, crypto fam, to the #1 daily Bitcoin pod. Bitcoin pumping back in the green, 65 G's in play. Send it, let's get it. In today's show, breaking news as always. China announces multiple rate cuts just after the Fed cut their rates here in the United States. You already know what's about to happen next. Also breaking news, 42 Congress members wrote to SEC Chairman No Hair Gare, demanding him to allow the banks to custody Bitcoin, and congressmen have been ripping him a new a-hole, if you know what I'm saying, especially Congressman Emmer. I'll be sharing the latest updates. We'll also be discussing the latest from Max. He recently shared, not only will the central banks be disintermediated by Bitcoin, but so will the nation states as we know it. We'll also be discussing the latest updates from Plan B, creator of the Bitcoin stock-to-flow model. Also, history suggests it's breakout time for the BTC, according to crypto analyst Red Capital. I'll be sharing his timelines and targets. We'll also be discussing an alleged $243 million worth of Bitcoin hack, accidentally incriminate themselves, and leak screen share. This is actually quite interesting. We'll also be discussing, will the Bitcoin ETF options send Bitcoin to the moon? We'll be breaking this down, as well as Bitcoin reaching between 108 to 155,000 by the end of this year, according to analysts. I'll be breaking down why, as well as $52 million Bitcoin is the new $1 million Bitcoin. In fact, I'll be sharing the latest updates and predictions from the Giga Chad, Mikey Saylor. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much motherfucking more in today's show. If you're new to the channel, very important to smash the likes. It's free to do so. It takes 1 second. If you can also subscribe to the channel, it's greatly appreciated. Then hit the bell icon, turn on all notifications. Today is pod 1767. I'm your fearless host, JV. It's September 24th. 2024, markets are pumping, only 500 away from 65,000. Bitcoin's up 11.11 on the day. Another divine omen. So there you go. Let's kick it off with our market watch as we do each and every day. Coin360 shows Bitcoin above 64.6, less than 400 away from 65, up 2% on the day. Ether still in the red, correcting 0.5%, maintaining just under 2,700. Solana, Cardano, and XRP all in the green, with Cardano up 7%. And checking out coinmarketcap.com. The current crypto market cap sits at $2.25 trillion. The Bitcoin market cap, $1.27 trillion. We got 70.5 billion in volume for the past 24 hours. And the current Bitcoin dominance is 56.4%, with the Ether dominance at 14.2%. How high do you think the Bitcoin dom will climb for the cycle? Let me know. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers past 24 hours, we got WIF up 15%, CFX up 12.5%, and Say up 9.5%. And let me know which alts, if any, you're bullish on for this particular bull, and I'll read those comments out loud here in a moment. And checking out the crypto bubble so we can get a visual perspective starting on the daily, then we'll zoom out on the monthly. Safe to say today, I'd say 70% of the market in the green, 30% in the red. Zooming out on the monthly, it's a good mix. I'd say 60% in the red, maybe 40% in the green. And checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, one of my favorite indicators. We're still neutral. We've been neutral for the past few days. Last week was a 33 in fear, and last month a 54 neutral. And checking out the time chain calendar, we have 187,290 blocks yet to go until the next halving, scheduled to take place in April of 2028. And we're currently on block number 862,710, and you can currently trade 1,580 Satoshis for $1, ultimately meaning for $1, you can get almost 1,600 Satoshis. Clearly, the higher the price action goes on the BTC, the lower that exchange will be. Eventually, it'll be less than 1,000 sats per dollar, 500 sats per dollar, 100 sats per dollar. And by the time it's $1 per sat, we're talking $100 million Bitcoin. Just let that one sink in, family. Let's now tap into today's astrology for the broskies. We'll also be pulling up some of the live charts, as well as the latest from stock-to-flow analysts and founder of the stock-to-flow Bitcoin model, who is Plan B. He gave us some very impressive updates here today. In fact, do you want me to start with that? Why not? Mr. Plan B, he tweeted Bitcoin from looks like from $3 to 63,000 was a 20,000x. The US M2 money supply from 10 trillion to 21 trillion on the chart, a 2x. So look at that. You're looking at the M2 on the flat line, and you're looking at the biddy above that. Would you rather have had 2x or 20,000x? You tell me. And he recently tweeted just a scenario: October classic pump month, Bitcoin 70 G's. November, Trump wins election, ends the Democrats. Biden, Harris, Warren, Gensler, war on crypto, Bitcoin to 100,000. December, massive ETF inflow, Bitcoin to 150 G's. January, crypto people companies return to the US, Bitcoin to 200 G's. February, power law crew sells, Bitcoin to 150 G's. March, Bitcoin legal tender in Bhutan, Argentina, and Dubai, Bitcoin 300 G's. April, Trump and the U.S. start building strategic Bitcoin reserve, Bitcoin to 400 G's. May, other countries except EU join the rat race, Bitcoin to 500,000. June, several AI start using Bitcoin to autonomously arb TradeFi or TradFi, Bitcoin to 600,000. July, December, face melting FOMO like a MOVO, Bitcoin all-time high 1 milli. 2026 distribution phase, Bitcoin back to 500,000. 2027 bear market, Bitcoin bottom 200 G's. Let me know if you agree, disagree with Plan B, the infamous stock to flow model. And let's dive a little deeper into what's popping here before we pull up the live charts. Headline reads, Bitcoin price target rises 78 G's after the Chinese stimulus package. Let's go Chinese. On September 24, the People's Bank of China announced it would inject 140 billion of liquidity into the financial system by cutting the reserve requirement ratio by 50 basis points. Sounds familiar. Now, the Chinese bank here has lowered borrowing costs and eased property purchase rules to shore up its struggling real estate market and the wider economy. Jamie Coots, chief crypto analyst at investment management firm Real Vision, argues that China's latest stimulus package is bullish for the biddy, pointing out that it would influence other central banks to follow suit. Quoting Amir, the bottom is in for the global central bank liquidity for this cycle. Sit back and watch the other central banks fall in line. He also added in a credit-based fiat fractional reserve system. The basement is a feature, not a bug. Now, the People's China Bank recent stimulus package announcements have preceded huge rallies in risk assets like Bitcoin. For instance, the bank injected 367 billion through reverse repos in October of 2023 and 140 billion by reducing the RRR by 50 basis points back in January of this year. Bitcoin's price rose over 100% following the stimulus package announcements. And interestingly, the direct connection between Chinese liquidity and the biddy is less obvious due to the 2021 crypto mining ban in China. However, as Couts pointed out, Bitcoin's performance remains closely tied to global liquidity conditions, and China's easing measures could prompt broader shifts in risk appetite. Now let's discuss this breakout to new all-time highs price discovery 78. Let's go. Adding to this bullish outlook and the formation of a bull flag pattern on Bitcoin's longer time frame chart. The bull flag pattern develops when the price consolidates inside of a descending channel range after a strong upside move. Now, as a rule, the pattern resolves when the price breaks above the upper trend line and rises as much as the previous uptrend height. As of September 24th, the Bitcoin price was testing its flag's upper trend line for a potential breakout above 78 G's, a new record high. The current all-time high is 73.8, which we achieved mid-March, right before the halving, literally 1 month before the halving for the first time in Bitcoin history. Pre-halving, we broke out and hit a new all-time high. Pretty wild. Now, conversely, a pullback from the upper trend line will likely take the price down towards the lower trend line, aligning to the zero Fibonacci retracement trend line of around 5 bones. And as reported, Bitcoin may need to rise well above 80 G's to achieve a new all-time high value when adjusted for inflation. So something to consider with inflation adjusted. We need above 80,000 for the all-time high. Now, in other breaking news before we pull up some of the live charts, China announced the multiple rate cuts after the Fed cut the rates. You already know, very bullish in the markets. Also, 42 Congress members wrote the SEC chair, Gary Gensler, demanding him to allow the banks the custody of the biddy. And how many of you tuned into Congressman tearing him a new a-hole? It says, Congressman takes aim at Gensler over the crypto chaos. We would not have had a more historically destructive or lawless chairman of the SEC. We could have not had. And I agree 100%. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Let me know if you guys watched some of that. And quoting Max Kaiser, not only will the central banks be disintermediated by the biddy, but so will the nation's states as we know it, because Bitcoin severs the head of the central banking cartels and separates money from state. So you already know, and I gave you the updates from Plan B, creator of the Bitcoin stock to flow model, as well as his timeline of some of those bullish price targets. Now let's pull up some of the live charts. Here we're looking at the 1 hour chart via trading view via Coinbase. Should be able to see clean on your screen here. There's a lot of action. So I'm going to read you the most bullish and bearish scenarios so it can be on your radar. We do have on the 1 hour chart a formation breaking out, a falling wedge currently. We do have a $66,000 bullish target, roughly 2,000 from where we're at. And we do have some bottoms as well, sitting at around 61,000 in that ballpark. And zooming out a little deeper, we'll check out the 4 hour chart and work our way backwards. And again, this is live and in the flesh. We do have that blue target sitting all the way at 81,250. And then we have a target in the red sitting at 60,000. And then we have a super bearish target sitting at 37.9 on the 4 hour chart. Let's work our way back. We'll check out the 1 day. And again, this is live right now. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Out of the last 8 daily closes, 7 were green. We just had 1 itty bitty red. So the bullish momentum is amongst us, family, as we enter October, less than a week away. And we do have a bottom target sitting at 47.7 on the daily chart. And let's work our way back. We'll check out the weekly. We should still have that sexy cup and handle pattern, as you can see on your screen, sitting at 124,400. This is my personal target for Q4, sometime between October and December of this year. Let me know if you agree, disagree. And checking out the monthly. Here we go. Let's see if we can get a strong September monthly close heading into October. Let me know where you feel the Bitcoin price action will likely go next. And I'll holla and I'll read these comments out loud. Now let's discuss breakout time. According to this analyst, Rect Capital, shout out Rect. What a epic name, by the way. Bitcoin and crypto markets could be on the cusp of a breakout if historical cycle patterns repeat, according to Rect Capital. He observed that in the previous market cycle, Bitcoin has historically broken out from its reaccumulation range between 154 and 161 days after the halving. This cycle's Bitcoin halving occurred on April 20th. I actually remember it being on April 19th, but hey, I guess it depends on what country you live in. 157 days ago. So within the breakout time frame, it's time. It's time. History suggests it's a breakout time. I mean, look at the chart right here, family. During the 2016 halving year, Bitcoin broke out of the range-bound accumulation phase literally 154 days after the halving, while in 2020, it took 161 days after the halving. Can you say deja vu? The analyst highlighted that history doesn't always repeat. Sometimes it rhymes or in a copy-paste manner. But if we were to do so in this cycle, then Bitcoin should be breaking out from its reaccumulation range in the next handful of days, this motherfucking week. Let me repeat that. We should be breaking out this motherfucking week. New all-time highs in play, fam. The analysts also compared periodic returns, noting that September is usually bearish for the bitty, and the fourth quarter usually sees better returns, as we all know. Q4 around the corner. Now, he also said, who wouldn't have thought Bitcoin would print its highest ever average return for the month of September in this cycle? Bitcoin has risen around 9% in September, beating its second best September in 2016 when it made 6% gains in the month. Additionally, 9 of the past 11 October months have seen positive returns for the bitty, with the bull market months such as October 2017 to 2021 seeing the greater gains of 48% and 40%. Respectively. Respect my authority and respect the pump. Bitcoin has been trading sideways for the past 6 months, but would need to break the previous peak. Again, current all-time high is sitting at 73.8. Once we break that, we re-enter price discovery mode. That's when things get exciting. Now, it's only roughly 15% away from that level, and we can see a 15% gain in a single day. We have done that before, family. So anyways, let me know your thoughts surrounding some of that price action from Rect Capital, and do you think this is the big week? Do you think price discovery around the corner? Are you as bullish as JV? Q4, can you see 125 G's? Let me know your thoughts and I'll read your comments out loud. But anyways, welcome. No Diddy-o, but welcome everyone just joining the stream. Spread the word. Let people know we live and in the flesh. Our next story reads, alleged $243 million Bitcoin hackers accidentally incriminate themselves and leak screen share. This is actually pretty wild. The accused hackers behind a $250 million Bitcoin exploit reportedly shot themselves in the foot in a new leak recording. Days ago, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia said authorities are charging California and Connecticut residents Malone Lamb, Veer, Chattel, Jean Deal, Serrano with conspiracy to steal and launder $250 million in Bitcoin after robbing 4,100 biddies from a Washington, D.C. victim. Good Lord. In a separate investigation, on-chain sleuth Zach XBT posted a leaked screen share video. Let me know if you saw the video. I'll show you where you can actually watch it later. It's actually pretty wild. They're like, oh my God, we actually did it. Video capturing the moment the accused fraudsters realized that their scheme had apparently worked. And according to the blockchain investigator, one of the hackers even let his real name slip during the recording multiple times. Can you say idiot? Quoting him here. Veer received a large percentage cut from the theft and slipped up during the screen share by leaking his full name. Couldn't make it any more easier for the authorities. Jesus. Additional comfort was gained as throughout multiple recordings, accomplices referred him to as Veer on audio and in the chats. 34.5 million of his funds sit here at this particular address. Pretty interesting, right? Furthermore, Zach XBT provides step-by-step breakdown of how the scheme properly went down. Here's the summary, which he shared on X. But I'm just going to give you the summary here. Number one, calling as Google support. This is how they hacked them. Calling as Google support via a spoof number to compromise personal accounts. Number two, calling after as Gemini support, claiming the account is hacked. Number three, social engineered victim into resetting two-figure authenticator and sending Gemini funds to the compromised wallet. And number four, got the victim to use AnyDesk to share screen and leak the private keys from Bitcoin Core. And according to the core documents, Lamb and Serrano were asked to forfeit all properties acquired from the theft and pay a money judgment against the defendants if found guilty. At this time, no official statements have been made about the chattel by the authorities, but here's the breakdown from Zach XBT, and you can actually find this as well. And one of them actually shows the video. I think it's this one right here. And you can actually see the video of the alleged hackers, talking about getting away with it. Like, oh my God. I watched it maybe last week or something. I recall when this went down, but it's crazy to witness a 4,000 Bitcoin hack. It's mind-boggling. And it just shows you, I mean, be very careful out there. Never give your screen share info to anybody, because oftentimes they're scammers. Maybe parading as support is very common. A lot of people get scammed, unfortunately. So be very careful out there. Don't give your private information, private keys, screen share, things of this nature. You know what I mean? Anyways, man, let's continue with the news. Welcome everyone join the stream. 1,000 people here live and in the flesh. We're live on X, Rumble, and YouTube. Keep the comments flowing. And let's continue as we usher in Bitcoin to price discovery mode. Let's discuss these ETF options. The headline here reads, will Bitcoin ETF options send Bitcoin to the moon where no man has gone before? Well, let's discuss it. Here we go. There will soon be a regulated options market for the US Bitcoin ETFs, but what does that mean and how will it impact the price? Thought you'd never ask. On Friday, the US SEC greenlit NASDAQ to list and trade options for the iShares Bitcoin Trust, BlackRock's $22 billion Bitcoin ETF, whose shares track the price of the Biddy. And according to the analysts, introducing options will make Bitcoin a more functional investment asset across the board. Options are derivative instruments and let investors acquire the option to either buy or sell the Bitcoin at a predetermined price at a later date. Options for buying and selling are called calls and puts. That's right. Investors can now buy puts, which are options if they think Bitcoin will experience a price correction, according to CryptoQuant's head of research. Typically, this can be done with lower capital and at a lower cost than a open and maintaining a short position in the perpetual future markets. Moreno also said options will allow the investors to earn yield using what's known as covered call strategy, which involves selling call options while holding the spot Biddy. Now, the Round Hill Bitcoin covered call strategy ETF has used this strategy for months through Bitcoin futures ETFs to offer 30% APY, annual percentage yield to the investors. And while excitement online for the approval was palpable, there's debate around just how bullish Bitcoin options could be, quoting them here. We are on the verge of witnessing the most extraordinary upside volume in financial history, wrote Jeff Park, head of alpha strategies over at Bitwise. He shared, without exaggeration, this marks the most monumental advancement possible for the crypto market. That big, huh? Now, Park argued regulated options will allow the Bitcoin notional exposure to grow exponentially for the first time in the market, where the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency protects clearing members from counterparty risks. Existing crypto options trading venues like Derivit have failed to achieve broad adoption. More importantly, Park claimed Bitcoin's characteristics combined with options could provide outsized potential for upside volatility. The first is Bitcoin's volatility smile, describing derivatives traders' willingness to pay high premiums for both exposure and protection from heavy upside or downside price volatility. This gives Bitcoin options negative VANA, meaning the asset's volatility rises alongside the spot price, making Bitcoin's upside explosively recursive. Now, the second is Bitcoin's fixed supply. As new leverage enters the system, new coins cannot be printed to accommodate it, a phenomenon that's historically capped with the rise in explosive meme coins like GME or AMC. So, though markets for other commodities like oil and natural gas exist, the analyst said that they trade more closely with the futures market since they have expiration dates. They're also subject to supply manipulation by OPEC and other groups. Quoting them again, Bitcoin ETF options are the first time the financial world will see regulated leverage on a perpetual commodity that is truly supply constrained. Things will likely get wild. In such scenarios, regulated markets may shut down. I hope they don't get as wild as a Diddy party. No Diddy. Just saying. Now, not every analyst was quite as sensational for their feedback. CoinShares head of research James Butterfield predicts options will dampen down the Bitcoin volatility over time because they give investors the ability to do more directional trades. Quoting him here, they will allow greater retail participation and the ability to leverage, so it will likely significantly improve liquidity. And although the options will not offer the same bankruptcy remote features that the physically backed ETFs themselves have. So there you go, yo. And bottom line, let me know your thoughts surrounding the Bitcoin futures options. But anyways, let's break down this next target as we send this mofo to infinity and beyond. Headline reads, Bitcoin can reach 108 to 155 Gs by the end of this year. And that's right in alignment with my target. What I say earlier, I've been calling it every day. I think we can hit 125,000 very realistically Q4 of this year. Let me know if you agree, disagree. And let's break this baby down. James Van Straten has discussed the Bitcoin price performance from the cycle low chart for the past couple of cycles. As its name suggests, the chart captures the price trend between successive cyclical lows. And for the latest cycle, the start point is naturally the bottom that was observed shortly following the collapse of the FTX exchange in late 2022. And breaking news, I heard someone shared in the chat earlier, Caroline Ellison got sentenced. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think someone told me for 2 years. Let me know if that's accurate, family. I know she was getting her sentencing here today, and there was a lot of speculation. Now, as is visible from the chart, the asset's recent price performance has been remarkably similar to that witnessed in the past 2 cycles at the same stage. Out of all of the graphs, TA, etc., Bitcoin from the cycle low continues to be the most valid, notes the analyst. Given the similarity so far, it's possible that the coin's trajectory in the current cycle may continue to mimic that of the last 2. Van Straten has pointed out that both of these cycles finished September higher. Not just that, but it also the point at which the 2 began a long-lasting surge that culminated into the bull run highs. Thus, it's possible that Bitcoin may also surge from here if the current cycle continues to follow the last 2. You already know, family. Quoting the analyst here, Van Straten, if Bitcoin were to finish end of year between the 2 previous cycles, which it has done for the most of the current cycle, we would be looking at 108,000 to 155,000, according to the analysts. And from the latest Bitcoin price, a rally to the lower end of this range, 108,000, would mean an increase of 70%. Now, Q4 alone, historically, the year after the halving, the fourth quarter of the halving, we typically go up roughly 80%. So let that sink in. If history is to rhyme, a little deja vu, Action Jackson, we can anticipate that. And we could even see 155,000 upper level, and which would suggest a growth of 144%. We've seen Bitcoin do phenomenal things. So anything is possible. Bitcoin have no top, fiat have no bottom. You already know, fam. And as always, with patterns that depend on a history, it is not necessary that Bitcoin would show a rally in this range to the end of the year. Nonetheless, the analyst says, if we don't get a recession, this is entirely possible. And in other news, Into the Block pointed out that Tether stablecoin has reached a new high in supply recently. I mean, crushing it. Was at roughly 120 billion market cap. I mean, Tether USDT has been crushing. But let me know your thoughts. 108, 140, 150, 125. What's your Q4 cycle high for this year? I shouldn't say cycle high for the cycle. I should say yearly high for 2024. Let me know your thoughts. My personal thinking is we don't hit the cycle peak until the following year, because that's what history has shown us time and time and time again. This is the fourth halving. 3 previous halvings, 2012, 2016, 2020. It was 2013, 2017, and 2021. We hit the all-time high for the cycle peak, and I don't expect this one to be any different, but let me know your thoughts and your 2 Satoshis. I'll read your comments out loud. Holy crap, Caroline Ellison was also slapped with $11 billion restitution fine. How does she pay it? Unless she has all the money stolen somewhere. How can you pay an $11 billion restitution if you don't have the money hidden? Interesting, Bobby. Good to know. 2 years, that's whack. She'll be out in 6 months or sooner. She can get, theoretically, Caroline and Sam can both get pardoned by Joe Biden before he walks out of office November 5th, in that ballpark, from my understanding of how pardons work. So anything's possible. You got to consider who their parents are and how connected they are to the Democratic Party. Sam was the second largest donor next to George Soros. I mean, come on. So you know he got some ins with the Democratic Party. 225,000 end of the year. Send it, Oracle. Now we're talking. I dig it. You're making me hungry, Oracle. Might need to order some takeaway. Hey, now she's going to serve most of the 2 years. It's federal, says Bobby Digital. For the fourth quarter, anything 6 figures would be fantastico. Agreed. She is going to steal more people's money and gamble it to the 11 milli. Put it all on black. Bitcoin reflects humanity's return to fairness. Amen. And ethical leadership. I like that. Rooted in decentralization, it aligns with natural law, empowering individuals to act morally and with love towards others. That's deep. Did you come up with that, Coach Leon? Because that's a quotable right there. Fantastic. Christmas turkey. We talking turkey, eh? 130 G's. That makes for a big turkey. January 20th, 2025 is Biden's last day. Good to note. So he's in till next year, unfortunately. Well, if they get pardoned, they'll probably be pardoned by then. Is that how it works on the end of the term? Something like that? We'll see. I hope it ain't true, but my spider senses have been tingling that they're both going to get pardoned. Why would anyone that Karen money? I don't know. It's a good question right there, Short Coin. It's a fantastic question. What would Bruce Lee do?
I said, empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water.
You put water into the cup, it becomes the cup. You put the Bitcoin into the treasure, it becomes the treasure. Now, Bitcoin can crash. Now for our feature story of the day, fam. $52 million Bitcoin is the new $1 million Bitcoin. That's right. I'm going to be sharing the latest updates from the one and only Giga Chad, Mikey Saylor. So let's break this baby down, shall we? Bitcoin, the 9th largest asset on planet Earth. Have you ever been to planet Earth? Let me know. Could reach 8-figure price per Bitcoin over the next 20 years based on its inelasticity of its supply, as well as the supply and dominant fiat currencies such as the US dollar, the euro, the yen, and the renminbi. What you know about the renminbi? I used to live in China, so I know all about it. Anyways, Van Eck, which manages nearly $90 billion, predicts the Bitcoin can reach $52,386,207. What a fantastic target. Quoting them here. We expect Bitcoin to be widely used in international trade, becoming a significant medium of exchange and a valuable store of wealth, reads the Van Eck report penned by Matthew Siegel and Patrick Bush. As Bitcoin becomes more useful and valuable, central banks and long-term investors will want to hold more BTC, reducing the amount available in the floating supply. Meanwhile, Mikey Saylor, the CEO of MicroStrategy, who thinks Bitcoin keeps going up forever, Laura, foresees Bitcoin potentially reaching 49 milli per coin over the next 21 years. His base prediction is that Bitcoin will reach 13 million. And if you missed yesterday's pod, that was actually the focus of the pod. We covered that 13 million prediction. Here's what he says. 55% annual reoccurring revenue goes to 50% to 45 to 35 to 25%, argues Mikey Saylor. It'll gradually decelerate until it's growing about twice as fast as the S&P index. And at that rate, Bitcoin is 13 million a coin in the year 2045. Saylor foresees less on the devaluation of fiat currencies and more on Bitcoin's inelastic properties. Bitcoin is the one thing on earth of which nobody can produce more of, he argues. That's right. Bitcoin is the only commodity with true scarcity. There's a finite limited supply of 21 million hard capped, and there's probably 5 or 6 million lost and gone forever, which makes our biddies worth that much more. Meanwhile, gold, relative scarce, but no true scarcity. They can always find more in the earth. Same with silver. And fiat, they print out of thin air. The same as what they'll be doing with the CBDCs, the same as they do with Ethereum. There is an infinite max supply. Only Bitcoin has true scarcity, family. So can it reach 50 million realistically? Let's discuss it. Fiat currencies are losing value, which we're witnessing in real time through inflation, right? And particularly the US dollar, the euro, the GBP, and the yen. This is made clear by the recent gold price action, which just recently hit another all-time high, surpassing 2,600 an ounce. VanEck cites this fact that issuing nations have become less economically relevant and more fiscally irresponsible. VanEck believes the trend will persist and accelerate. Moreover, the asset manager notes the seeming erosion of property rights in the U.S. damages the reputation and contributes to the decline in importance of the U.S. dollar. Meanwhile, Bitcoin is the only asset on the planet with perfect inelasticity. You can build more houses, mine more metals, create more stocks or bonds, and print more currency. If a stock increases in price by 10 times, for instance, a company can issue more stock. You can't issue more. You can't mine more Bitcoin. The last Bitcoin will be mined in the year 2140. That's it, folks. I believe already 20 million is circulating, right? So we got another million to mine until the year 2140. So very scarce. Now, Bitcoin's value stems from its inelastic supply. Inelastic in economics means a goods or service with a static quantity. When its price increases, the supply does not also increase, and vice versa. So when the price of Bitcoin, for instance, goes up, the supply remains 21 million. When the price of Bitcoin drops, the supply remains the same, meaning one Bitcoin is always equivalent to one Bitcoin. That same one Bitcoin from 2009, from the Genesis block from January 3rd, still worth one Bitcoin, right? And in 20 years, that one Bitcoin will be worth one Bitcoin. And in the year 2140, when the last Bitcoin is mined, one Bitcoin will be worth one Bitcoin. Are you starting to understand? Bitcoin's hard cap maximum supply gives it absolute scarcity, true scarcity. It is the only true finite resource in the entire world. The supply cannot be increased, no matter if the price increases all the way to 50 million per coin. Meanwhile, natural gas is often cited as an example of a good with a highly inelastic supply. If the price increases, demand stays approximately the same, and producers cannot supply more natural gas, at least in short order. Nonetheless, producers can eventually scale up the production. Bitcoin miners face a different arithmetic. That's right. Miners can't mine more Bitcoin. Miners also cannot mine Bitcoin faster as the price rises in order to make up for the increased demand. Bitcoin is hard programmed to reach 21 million coins by the year 2140 or so, based on mining algorithms, which cannot be changed. It's immutable, unlike the Ethereum blockchain where they can roll it all back. And as the rate of the new supply decreases, demand has generally steadily increased. Once the last Bitcoin is mined, miners will be motivated to secure the market in order to earn transactional fees. Therefore, the Bitcoin supply is non-responsive to a change in price. If the formula for calculating the price elasticity of supply is PES equals percentage change in QS, all this crazy math I'm going to pretend to even understand, it comes to 2140, meaning there will be 0 Bitcoins after that. That's all you need to know. Finite limited supply, hard cap 21 million. Buying Bitcoin or a sat is asking to buy a concert ticket. Wait, let me rephrase that. Buying Bitcoin or a Satoshi is asking to buy a concert ticket for a sold-out show. There you go. Only the show is the new age, renaissance, and enlightenment. But there you have it, yo. Let me know regarding VanEck's predictions. Bullish as all hell, 52 milli. Let me know your thoughts surrounding Mikey Saylor's prediction and everything I just shared with you. Do you think we'll likely hit some of those targets? Holla at your boy. I'm going to read your comments out loud. Welcome everyone to the Q&A segment of the live stream. 1,500 people here, live and in the flesh. Appreciate y'all.